Yep. Good.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Sorry, we're gonna go through a little bit of adjustments with our volume, depending on who's speaking. Um, Welcome. If you would, please join me in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
of the
United States of America,
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chris, I think we're good.
Good. All right. Thank you, Greg.
You're good. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Greg. How about if we have our guests come, or someone come up and announce our guest?
Bernadette Lauer from School of Rock. Welcome.
Welcome, Bernadette. We look forward to your presentation in a little bit. And Christina is going to do our 50-50 drawing. $638. Jim, check my tickets.
638. Good job.
Give you extra time this morning. I guess we're moving on to happy dollars. We have crickets. Christina. Very good. Congratulations. Anyone else? Okay. Chris, do you want to move into announcements?
So you say you can't hear?
Barely. I can hear you. It started off okay, but then it's so muffled.
Okay.
It's like volume's turned down to 1.
We can hear you pretty well.
Okay.
All right. Continue.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of club or some announcements, if that works for everybody. For our February birthdays, we have John Schmidt, who celebrated on the 7th of this month, and Charlie Stein, who celebrates on the 28th. Anniversaries, Greg, you have top honors at 26 years this month. Diane Yoakum, your incoming president, is celebrating 14 years this month. Todd Curl has 9, and Todd King has 6 years.
Good deal.
Okay. We have a golf committee meeting Zoom that's going to be this Friday at 2:00. We're looking forward to getting started with our annual fundraiser. And let's see. We're working on Safety Town, so I'm looking for some help. Members, if you have a grandchild, niece, or nephew that attends a local preschool, if you could let me know. Looking to expand our current list of preschools that we advertise Safety Town at. I'm specifically looking for places more North York, West York, and South York, especially the Red Lion area. It seems to me I saw an ad for a new preschool that was opening up down in Red Lion, but I don't know what the name is. Do we have anybody with announcements?
No announcements?
Okay, then I'm going to just finish off with a reminder that we are holding another membership drive this month. or this spring. So start thinking about your people that you would like to invite to our new member breakfast, which is going to be held on April the 28th. So we'll have the Google Doc with the list of names sent out for the membership. And we will follow up with paper copies, especially once I get back early March. All right, I think that's it. If there are no other announcements, how about if we have Meredith come up and introduce our speaker?
Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today, Bernadette Lauer from the School of Rock. This is one organization I don't have any previous experience or knowledge of, so I'm excited for this presentation. And without further ado, Bernadette.
All right, good morning. Everyone hear me all right? All right, excellent. Well, thanks for having me here. I brought some photos along that you can kind of watch while I'm chatting today. This just kind of visually tells our story from the beginning. You'll see some early construction pictures from when we built the school and then some other photos from the last 2 years. So enjoy those while I chat today. But anyway, so again, thank you for the invite. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, my journey, and how I kept reinventing myself. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the School of Rock as well, and how far we've come in the 2 short years that we've been open. So I've always thought the world would be a dull place without music. And, I don't know if anyone ever heard of the Four Tops. Yes? Well, they have a song named Bernadette. So maybe my mom knew something. So anyway, I was born in New York, and when I was a young girl, I'd tell people that I wanted to be an actress, a psychologist, or a lawyer. The reality is I never knew exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up, and it turns out I've been a few things. Now, I never would have guessed that I would be owning a music school. That was not in the cards, as far as I know. But my life has been one of reinvention, constant learning, and growing. I got my first job when I was 15, and actually younger than that if you count babysitting, and then I had a paper route too. Newspapers, I know probably, hardly anyone, most of you, I think, hopefully are in my generation and remember newspapers, but some younger generations, newspapers, what are those? But I delivered the newspaper. And then I earned my cosmetology license during high school. I went to York County School of Technology, and I did hair for a couple years until I had my first child. And then I started working at a doctor's answering service downtown, and that led me to get a job as the switchboard operator at York Hospital. So while I was at the hospital, I earned my emergency medical technician certification, and I transferred to the emergency department. And so all in all, I worked at the hospital for about 14 years. While I was working at the hospital, I started going to York College, and I earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in mass communications with minors in marketing and public relations. After graduation, I worked at Fox 43 News, and I was the weekend assignment editor for a couple years. And then someone told me that the York County Office of Emergency Management was looking to hire their first paid public information officer. So I applied for the role, and I was hired. And do you need me to help you over there? Okay, let me.
For Zoom attendees, we're working to try and get the video playing.
Trial and error. That's happened to me a lot of times over the years. Okay. So after graduating from York College, I worked at Fox 43 News as a weekend assignment editor, and then I transitioned over to a full-time public information officer for emergency management. And then from there, I was recruited to work at Exelon Nuclear, so Peach Bottom Atomic Power Station. This was my first of a few corporate jobs. And then my next big move was working for Harley Davidson Motor Company. I worked there for 6.5 years, and I eventually became their global communications manager. I worked a few other corporate jobs as well, and then, quite frankly, I got burned out. So I took some time off. I did some soul searching. I spent time with family and friends, and some family and friends said, you should start your own business. Do some PR, consulting, communications. And I knew that I could do that easily because I had done it for many years, but my passion for this line of work just diminished. So I searched. I considered opening a gym because I liked the idea of helping people to get healthy, but I decided against it because there's already a lot of gyms in New York. And then during the pandemic, believe it or not, I never drank coffee. I always loved the smell of it, but I never drank it. But I started drinking it during the pandemic. So I thought, well, maybe I'll open a coffee shop because coffee seems to make people happy. But I realized there's also a lot of coffee shops in New York. And the other thing is, coffee shops have to open very early in the morning, and I am not a morning person. You guys are very lucky to get me here today. So I wanted something that really made a difference in the community and something that I could get excited about getting up every day and doing. So in December of 2021, I read an article about the fastest growing franchises. As I scanned the list of 40 businesses, there was only one that interested me, School of Rock. I had heard of the movie like many, but I didn't know there was a real music school named School of Rock. Fun fact, the music school did exist before the movie. So the music school opened in 1998. Another fun fact, the very first School of Rock was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, so just a couple hours from here. And now today there's more than 400 worldwide. So super cool that it started in Pennsylvania. Anyway, the idea of opening a music school seemed daunting, so I continued searching for my next career, and nothing seemed like the right fit. In early 2022, a few months after reading that article, I was sitting at a traffic light, actually just down over the hill from here, listening to the music in my car, and it struck me that I needed to find out more about School of Rock. So I went home, I made the call, and eventually went to one of their headquarters in Chicago to learn more. Over the following months, I interviewed almost a dozen School of Rock owners, as well as the C-suite executives for the company. I visited other School of Rocks. I talked to banks about financing options, and the more I learned, the more I was intrigued. One common thing that I heard from several school owners was that if I wanted to make a difference in my community, and that if I loved music, School of Rock would be a good fit. Community involvement is important to me, and I've worked numerous volunteer jobs over the years. I've always been passionate about music as well. Music helped get me through some difficult times during my childhood. And I've never watched much TV. In fact, I've often said, you can have the television, but if you try to take my music, we're gonna fight. I've been disappointed that public schools have been having to cut art, music, even gym class. When my youngest son came home in ninth grade, his first year of high school, I looked at his schedule and I said, "Where's your gym class, buddy?" He said, "I don't know." So I talked to the school and they said he only needs 1 year of gym during high school. I was blown away. Now, inside me, I would have been celebrating as a high schooler myself because I didn't like gym class so much. But I do believe that those things are important for our children. Art, music, even gym class, they're much needed for students to have the extracurriculars. According to a study by the National Association for Music Education, schools with music programs have an estimated 90.2% graduation rate and a 93.9% attendance rate compared to schools without music education, which average 72% graduation and 84% attendance. A wide body of research identifies extracurricular activities, such as School of Rock, as a protective factor, and that after-school programs can reduce depressive symptoms. School of Rock is a place of belonging and can contribute to students' mental health well-being. So enriching lives through music is the heart of School of Rock's mission. Experiences of peer interaction are invaluable because they teach lessons regarding collaboration, conflict management, and relationship building. These lead to improvements in confidence, even lifelong friendships. Adolescence, as we know, is a very formative time. Physical, emotional, and social changes can make adolescents vulnerable to mental health problems. Music gives adolescents and others a way to express themselves. Some school owners that I spoke with told me stories about parents telling them that they literally saved their life through music. And I can tell you, in the short 2 years that we've been open, I've already had a parent tell me the same thing. So that certainly isn't something that you can put a price tag on. Pardon. So after all of my research, I knew that we needed School of Rock here in York. So in March of 2023, I signed an agreement and started the process of opening a school here. And even though that I believe all of my previous jobs have prepared me for this business, to be a business owner in this environment, I have learned so much in the last 2 years. I started my financing process with an out-of-state lender, and to say that it was a disaster is an understatement. I eventually found my way to M&T Bank and was relieved that I could walk right into one of our local banks here, look the people in the eye that I was working with. People who are vested here in the community because they also live here. I used a SBA, a Small Business Association loan, actually I think it's administration, and some of my retirement funds to finance the school. And I used my retirement funds through a program called ROBS. Has anyone ever heard of that? Yes, one person. Yes, that's amazing. When I went downtown with the big group of Rotarians, nobody, I think, in that room had ever heard of it. Even many banks have never heard of it. So ROBS is a rollover as business startup, and that allows you to use your retirement in a qualified 401k. You can pull out those retirement funds, use them tax-free without penalty to start a business. So that's what I did. In November of 2023, almost 2 years after I read that article, School of Rock York opened. The photos you've been seeing today are just a few of the highlights where we started and what has happened in those 2 short years. It's been a crazy and wonderful journey, and I can tell you for certainty that music does change lives. So let me tell you a little bit more specifically about what School of Rock is and what makes us different. School of Rock is a performance school that offers programs for ages 4 through adult. We combine one-on-one instruction with group rehearsals and live performances. Our music curriculum, named the School of Rock Method, was awarded a U.S. patent. We are the only music educator to have a U.S. patent. Our patent includes our song-first approach to teaching music. We find it more engaging for our students when we teach them a song, and then we kind of sneak in the concepts and the theory along the way. And we have our own music book, and we also have a proprietary method app that our students can practice with when they're not at the school, and that app gives them some instant feedback and let them know how they're doing. There's over thousands of songs in that app as well.
Nate, we're getting a little feedback on our end. Could you mute because we can't get it muted on our end? Please. Thank you.
Ways of teaching music. within our school, we've created a safe space for students to express themselves. Our focus is to help our students become well-rounded musicians and to help them build confidence that spills over into other parts of their life. We teach stagecraft, so how do you operate the guitar amps? How do you restring your guitar? How do you adjust the mic stands? And so on. We teach stage performance. So right there, actually, good timing. So these are actually our students from York. So we prepare them to take the stage, and we teach them how to interact with their bandmates, how to interact and entertain the audience as well. We teach about the history of music and artists that have contributed to rock music today. One of the subtle ways we do this is through our themed lesson rooms. So we have a room with 33 1/3 records, with 45 vinyls. We have a room with Elvis, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and many of our young students have no idea what those round black things on the wall are or who those people were. So we educate them and let them know. As I mentioned, our programs are aimed at student ages four through up. So to break it down, the program for our youngest rockers is called Little Wing. That's our 4 and 5-year-old. They have a weekly group class that introduces them to musical concepts and different genres. And we do that mostly through musical games and activities. And then our Rookies program is for our 6 and 7-year-olds. That is also a weekly group class where we take a deeper dive into learning music and letting the students explore the instruments that we offer at School of Rock. So we offer guitar, bass, drums, keys, and singing. The rookies work on project songs, and then they get to perform every 9 weeks for their families when they come in. And then ultimately, they can start taking private lessons at that point once they decide which instrument they'd like to pursue. And then our Rock 101 program is for beginners ages 8 to 13. And then those students are taking a weekly private lesson as well as a weekly 1.5-hour band rehearsal. And they're working on 5 core songs that have been picked especially to help them learn basic musical concepts and skills. They're learning song mapping skills and the importance of practicing at home, coming to rehearsal prepared. And then Rock 101 students have a graduation checklist so that once everything is signed off by their instructors, they get to graduate and move up to our performance program, which really is what School of Rock is known for. So performance program is for students as young as 9 years old up to 18 years old. And these students also have a weekly private lesson and a weekly 2-hour band practice. They're working on a themed show, and they'll practice their songs for about 4 months. And then we take them to a venue in the community where they get to perform on stage in front of a live audience. This season, we have 3 performance groups. They are working on Fleetwood Mac, Black Sabbath, and Kiss. And if you're not busy, on March 1st, mark your calendars, 2 o'clock at the Double Barrel Roadhouse in Redline. They'll be taking the stage and performing. And actually, our Rock 101 students, the beginners, they're going to kick off the show. So that's always a lot of fun as well. And then when we go back that first week in March, after that show, we'll start all over with new themes. For the summer season, we're going to do 70s hard rock. We're going to do rock and roll, so Dave Grohl, Nirvana, Foo Fighters. And then we're also going to do best of the 80s. And then we have an adult program as well. So any musicians in the audience today? Okay, well, come see me. I can help you with that. So for those 18 and over, it mimics our performance program. Our students get a weekly private lesson and a weekly band rehearsal. And their theme for this current season is Roots of Rock and Roll. And their show is actually going to be next Friday, February 27th. They're going to be at the Racehorse Tavern on that Friday evening performing. So again, come out. It's a free show. Check it out. And I'll tell you, our oldest student is 78, and she would be upset with me if I didn't share that because she is so proud to be our oldest student. I think you've probably seen a picture of her maybe up here with the adult band. So we offer workshops as well. We also do birthday parties, and we do summer music camps during the summer as well. And then there's even opportunities beyond that. So our performance program students, once they're in the program for a while and they meet some other criteria, they are able to audition to be part of our house band. So we did start a house band about 1 year ago. So we took a good year to get a solid foundation, and then we started a house band. and they can go out and do extra gigs in the community. So they might perform, like, for example, last year they performed at the Spring at Sperry Amphitheater. They've performed at York Township Movie Night, Spring Garden Movie Night. They've performed at New Freedom at a festival there. They've performed in Glen Rock at a festival. They've performed at York College. They had 23 gigs last year. And the calendar is already filling up for this year. They've performed at the York Fair as well, all kinds of cool places. So we give them this extra experience. And then beyond that, the huge School of Rock community, there's 400 plus schools. If you are a house band member, you then, if you're nominated by your teachers, can audition to be an all-star. And those students get the opportunity to go on tour for 10 days during the summer, live like a rock star on a bus, going from town to town, playing various gigs. And I'm proud to say we had one student nominated this year, which only being open 2 years is thrilled. Now, they haven't made it past there's a multi-audition process. So they're in there and we're waiting a couple weeks to hear if he makes it. But we did have one that was nominated to go before the judging panel for All Stars. So anyways, give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, check us out on YouTube. You'll get to hear about all of our events that we have to offer in the community, because that's part of it too. We've built a nice community within the school, but we want to take our community out into the greater York community and share the music that we're making. So thank you again for having me today. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah. We work by the month. Generally, we're not contract-based or anything like that. So if you come to me and say, hey, I want to learn whatever, we'll get you all set up. And it's basically month to month. Great question. So when we built the school, we built it in a very special way to help with the sound. So not to get heavy into construction, but there's multiple layers of drywall, a special kind of drywall, a special kind of furring channel. So, we built hard ceilings in like the drum rooms, the louder rooms, the rehearsal rooms. So believe it or not, we've not had any complaints. Now, we have a gym on the one side of us, so that helps because we hear them dropping their barbells sometimes. And on the other side, we do have a salon, and I check in with them, and they say every once in a while we hear something, but they love it. Yeah. I have about 3,500 square feet. Yeah, it's amazing. When people come in the school and I give them a tour, they're like, it's much bigger inside than I thought. And so we're at the Wyndham Shops off of South Richland Avenue, behind the Rudders and the Lidl grocery store, if you know where that is. We're in the very center, and the crazy thing is that shopping center, that strip, had been there, I believe, for about 6 years before we came there, and that spot was sitting empty. And I said to the landlord, I'm like, everything else has been full. And I said, why, like, the spot? And he said, he had a couple interested organizations, but nothing ever worked out. So it's like it was sitting there waiting for us. It's perfect. Go ahead. Correct. Yes, it is a franchise. So in 1998, when the first School of Rock opened in Philadelphia, he opened a couple other locations, and then he eventually sold his interest. And so then that's when they started franchising. And again, so it's grown. I think we're at like 419 schools now. It's growing here domestically in the States, but internationally, like wildfire. So we teach 5 core areas: drums, keys, guitar, bass guitar, and singing. Those are the 5 we really focus on. Eventually, we might add some others, but we really wanted to, get a good foundation in the 5 core that we do teach. So we currently have over 120 students every week coming through our doors. And now imagine they're coming, most of them are coming twice a week. Some will come, they'll do their private lesson and their band rehearsal all in one day, but the majority will come on 2 separate days. So it's pretty busy. And we're only open 4 days a week. We're open 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. as well. So a lot of people in a limited time. We'll eventually have to start opening more days, but for probably my sanity, we've kind of focused, on those 4 days for now. Yeah, so there's 14 of us, counting myself. We do have 2 other what we call studio coordinators, so registering people, answering phones, greeting students when they come in, and then the rest are teachers. And they have a variety of backgrounds. Some have degrees in music, others do not. They just have a lifetime of experience. And the majority of our students all have stage experience, or our teachers rather, have stage experience, because we want them to be able to bring that to the students as well, and share what it's like to get on stage. At School of Rock, we have a little mantra. We say we don't teach music to put on shows. We put on shows to teach music, because there is so much to be learned. If you come to one of our shows, or if you've ever seen anything live, things happen, and maybe you don't even know as an audience member. If we do it well, you don't know. In fact, we just performed at the Appel Center on Saturday. They host a student music festival for York County, and we auditioned and we were selected. So we were one of 7 acts that performed on Saturday night. And everybody said that it went fabulous. And we knew that there were 2 little things that, we flubbed just a tiny bit, but nobody in the audience generally notices those things. But it's important to teach the students, how do you recover? They could stop dead in their tracks, and we don't want them to do that. We want them to recover. And so we work with them on how they do that and how they communicate with each other as well. Because if they're performing, they can't stop and have a conversation if they're in front of a live audience. So they've got to be able to communicate in other nonverbal ways as they move around the stage. All right, well, thank you again for having me. I brought my little goodie basket, so I will pass that around. There's some School of Rock buttons in there, some free lesson cards, some other information, so help yourself. And again, thank you so much for having me.
Chris, do you want to take over?
Sure. Thank you very much, Bernadette. This was wonderful to hear. I drive past your business all the time, so it was really nice to understand a little bit better what you do. To thank you for your visit today, Greg has a children's book for you to sign a book plate for. That book will be donated to the Children's Library, either at Children's Aid Society or the YWCA. So thank you.
Chris, anything else, or do you want me to?
The only other thing that I want to let everybody know is the District Learning Assembly is March the 14th. Sometime this week, I'm sending out by email a listing of all their sessions. If anybody is interested, you're welcome to join us. Thank you. And I think that's it.
Okay, very good. Let's give one more round of applause to Bernadette and her presentation. And we are adjourned.